In our first lecture, we discussed the three basic elements of theater: what is performed, the performance, and the audience. What is performed, the starting point, is a play, usually. We talked about the possibility of it being not a structured formal play as we are accustomed to, but more of a scenario or an idea from which a performance is created. But in most cases, the starting point is the written text of the play. Playwrights who create these works draw inspiration from a number of different sources: personal experiences, previous works of literature, historical events, society, and whatever happens to be going on in society at the moment that they start writing. They could choose to write a contemporary subject. They could choose to go back in time and deal with something from another century, another decade. Whatever the source, playwrights are driven to create something. They are inspired, just like any other artist. Inspiration has to come from somewhere. Some playwrights have unusual ways of starting the process of writing a play. One playwright that we'll be discussing this semester is an African American playwright named August Wilson. August Wilson wrote a play for every decade of the 20th century that tells the story of a group of African American people: family, a group of friends, people who work together in the same business. Every decade has one play. He called it the century cycle or the 10 play cycle. August Wilson was inspired by blues, the music that originated in New Orleans. This music was familiar to him, he understood it. And another thing that he liked to do in writing his plays was to spend time in diners, small restaurants, family owned restaurants, greasy spoons, as we call them sometimes. And he would sit there and listen to the conversations around him, kind of eavesdropping, but really getting a sense of how dialogue works because he was writing this play about these people. So he needed to hear the back and forth, the way they spoke to each other. Sometimes he said that he would start writing dialogue without any idea of the play. He didn't have in mind a particular topic or a particular theme, but he would start by writing dialogue. And through that dialogue, a conversation, of course, would evolve, and that would provide some sort of direction in some cases or guidance for him in writing his play. Playwrights have to decide on the message that they want to leave with the reader, or in all cases, the viewer. Playwrights want their plays to be produced. They don't want them to sit on the shelf and have an occasional passerby pull it off and read it and put it back. The ultimate goal in writing a play, the objective, is to see that play translated from the written work into performance. So a playwright spends lots of time writing his play. He's decided on his topic, they've decided on their topic, they have decided on the message that they want to leave with the reader or the viewer. And they sit down to write the play. And they write and they write and they write. They go back and change things and they write again. They continue living their lives, and somehow or another, sometimes experiences come into that creative process. The playwright gets to a point where they feel like their play is finished. And it's written, it's done, It's their play. The first thing that they want to do is to have someone read it, not to themselves, aloud, so the playwright can hear what they have created. They might invite friends over, actors that they know, and they give them scripts and they sit around a table and they read it so the playwright can hear it. Because for as long as they have been writing the play, it's been here. They want to know that they have created characters that are speaking in their own unique voices, that all characters don't sound like one character. You know, these are different beings in this story. This helps to create the objectivity that the playwright wants among the characters within the story. So these people read the play for them, and the playwright listens. They make changes. They come back and read it for him again. Finally, it's at the point where the playwright says, okay, this is done, it's finished. Next step, more than anything, is to find a way to copyright the play, protect the intellectual property. It's your play. You don't want anybody taking your ideas. Plagiarism is something that happens. Once this happens, the playwright is free to start submitting their play. They will send it to theaters. Usually, a new playwright is going to, depending on their cash flow, make copies of this play and send it out to theater companies across their state, the country, just to get some people to read it. What they want is for a theater to say, this is the type of play that we want to produce, and we want to produce it. Somewhere along the line, if that production of the playwright's play is successful, maybe get some conversation going about it, eventually the publisher will be interested in putting that play in their catalog of plays. Once that happens, theater companies from all over can go to that publisher's catalog, read their list of plays, and perhaps select the play that was written by this playwright. This is a great play. We would like to produce it at our theater. Now, what I want to do, this next bit is all about how playwrights are compensated for their work. Once that play is a part of the publisher's catalog, theater companies must apply for the rights to produce that play. And it's a process. If I represent a theater company and I have found this play, I will contact the publisher and provide information for them. First of all, and this is on the community theater level. These are small, non-professional, non-profit theaters in most small towns. I am representing a community theater. I contact the publisher. I inform them that I represent a non-professional, non-profit community theater. It's important because that status, that producing status, that non-professional, uh, um, um, profit theater status lets the publisher know that we don't have a lot of money and our rate for producing, or the royalty that we will have to pay to produce the play, will be lower than it would be were this theater a professional for-profit theater. In addition to providing the information about the producing status, the theater also has to provide information about the location of the theater, the number of seats in the theater, the average ticket price, and the number of performances of this play that the theater plans to do. They consider all of this information, factor it together, and come up with a royalty fee. That fee is to be paid for every performance of the play. For non-musical plays, for non-professional, non-profit theaters, usually the fee to produce a play, not a musical, but a straight play, is about $100 to $125 per performance. Now, that's for a theater that seats less than 200 people. That is to be paid in total before the theater can even announce that they are going to do the play, that they are going to put that play on their season. So you're doing 8 performances of this play. You're going to be expected to pay, what is that, $1,000 or more for the rights to produce that play and to publicize that play. A portion of that royalty will go back to the playwright. That's how playwrights make money. Um, it is tough. It is a tough, tough effort to go into because you're hoping that out of that entire list of plays, somebody is going to pick yours. So it's difficult. Now, playwrights, successful playwrights who write plays that are produced on a small level at first and then all of a sudden gain some momentum and get picked up by larger theaters, playwrights can make more money. Ultimately, the most wonderful thing that can happen for a playwright is that that play um, becomes popular, successful, produced, and eventually becomes a movie. Someone wants to take the story and turn it into a movie. And of course, the playwright will receive some benefit greatly from that transition from stage play to movie. Now, in the process of sending plays out, the playwright will try their best, as I said, to get it out to as many people as possible, as many theaters as possible to get his play produced. I'll stop right there. I'll be back.